guys, welcome back to this channel. In this video I'm going to talk about should you buy a unit or should you buy a house. I found after buying a different type of property, I'm only going to talk about unit RS unit to a to compare to a standalone home, let's say. So if I were to do it all over again, I would probably buy more of the houses compared to units, purely in the sense of there's a lot more. I found it's a lot more valuable having a standalone home, from my own personal experience, that is. On top of that, there's a less headache if you're owning a house compared to if you own a block of units, unless it's your own block of unit, yeah. But I'm talking about like a startup. If you're looking at to buy your first investment property, let's say, if you have the choice between the two, if I started all over again as well, I would definitely choose a house compared to units, because the value of the house, it gets a lot more faster to grow compared to a unit. There's a lot of, ways that you could actually improve that that house. Number one, it would be renovation. So when I try to renovate my unit, I have to oblige by their terms and conditions on how you want to renovate. So, for example, I'm taking out a carpet on my property, and I want to put a floorboard. That alone, it has to have met the unit standard procedures when you're thinking of doing it. So I was a bit amazed. I didn't know that. I didn't know, like, if I were to try to change my carpet from a carpet to timber flooring, I have to get an approval from the building manager, even though it's my own unit. So I did not know that. And then if you're going to paint on the wall, they have a color coded. Got a color code towards what it looked like, I guess. Which is like, so I can't paint my wall pink if I choose to, because the building code, it says that you gotta paint them white with a certain this and that. Like, oh, okay. So there's a lot of restriction when within a unit compared to a house. The other one would be, there's only so much you can renovate in the property. Like, you can't add additional room, as an instance, yeah. If you're thinking of doing a renovation in a unit, you cannot do that. Like an extension, no such thing. In a house, on the other hand, you can do that, subject to council approval. So, in a house, let's suppose you want to change the color on the wall, you can do that. Whereas in a unit, it has to meet the building, the approval of the strata committee. So that's that. You could probably do cosmetic renovation, but not structural renovation. Cosmetic renovation is like, okay, so there's a kitchen in the property, so you could probably change from one stove to another stove to make it look modern. So that's what I meant. You can't do extension, definitely, in a unit. You can't subdivide, let's say, in a unit. So On top of that, there's all of these fees that adds up when you're owning a unit. Example would be strata levies. Yeah. Not only you have your council expenses, council rates and water rates, which is, well, you kind of council obviously to take care of the common area, like on your roads, picking up the rubbish, bin collection. That's forgiven, that's normal. But there is also this extra fees, which is strata. Not cool, because it is not based on what you think is the best. It's everyone have to chip in just to have maintenance on the property. Yeah, maintenance such as maybe you've got a cleaner. I have to pay for that cleaner to take the garbage out. I have to pay for that instead of me just taking the rubbish out on the road. So maybe you have a pool, maybe you have a gym. The running costs all of those, a pool, a gym, and a garden, for example. There's bound to be a fees involved in that. Now, I don't like those fees because I look at all of those facilities. Majority of the time, they're looking at those is like, I never actually use it, so why do I need to pay any of this? In fact, I don't really like paying this. It's like paying fees that you have no choice on. So that's what strata is, and it varies between one property to another. You know, some fees it can be like $1,500 a quarter. So that's more than $5,000 or so on fees and administration on the strata, that you sometimes wonder, why am I paying this for? So I kind of don't like those fees. Granted that we have a security as well. We also have a lift. So like those things make sense. But in most part, like I'm paying a portion of all of this, which I don't use most of the time. So that, and whereas in a house, you pretty much can save that $5,000, for example, on the strata's fees and all that, into something else, because your outgoing on a house is your fixed, your council rate, your water rate. That is just that's a fixed expense, but you don't have the strata expense. At the same time, in a house, you actually have to do, let's say, if you have a garden, for example, yeah. So you have to mow the lawn, and if anything broken, you have to fix it yourself, or get a professional to do it for you. But that's gonna be like a big lump sum, for example, yeah. Let's say if you want to change the gate, you don't have this like structure of I have to. Everyone have to agree on to fix your own property. Structure in a sense sometimes good, sometimes bad. Because sometimes like when I looked at a certain property, for example, like you wanted to install a solar panel, as an example. If you wanted to install your solar panel on your own property, you can just do it yourself. You can just call and get it done. Not do it yourself in a sense, you know, you just have to call whoever it is, and they'll be able to install it for you, and you are the last person that you have to prove it to. Whereas if I were to do that on a strata-based building, I have to submit that to the committee. They have to like what I'm proposing. They have to agree what I'm proposing, and then they have to set up a budget on how much it is that you're thinking of doing this, and everyone have to pay that same budget, let's say. So you know, like that alone, there's about 4 or 5 steps. Whereas if it's your house, like right here, I'm gonna install a solar panel. Tomorrow, just call up a solar guy, and straight away you can do it right then and then. So yeah, that's the thing. And then let's say, for example, oh, you know what, this land is big enough, I want to extend another bedroom. No problems, just go to the council. If it's being approved with the council, then you can start doing your renovation. I want to paint the outside of my house a different color. Not a problem, as long as it's met the council requirement, let's say. So you only have like 1 or 2 people to go to, compared to a certain committee. If one committee doesn't like it, and it's a voting system in a sense, like I want to put forward this, it's a good idea, the benefits of it, but at the same time you have to apply that to everyone else that owns in the building. Some people agree on it, some people don't. The other thing would be my unit alone, there's a renovation. I think renovation went, I think, like it's about $100,000 to $200,000 or so. Changing the lobby, changing the common area, paint the internal of common area, changing all, there's a lot of a major renovation happened in my property. I didn't agree to it, but they still go ahead. But because I don't agree, I am one out of the minority, I guess, that I don't want to renovate because it's still working fine. It's only a 15-year-old building. It's not like it is like 30 or 40-year-old building. Everything working fine, and yeah, they did that, and because of that, my Australia levy, for example, it goes up a little bit, which I have no control. Now, if that was in your case, for example, what would you do then? Let's say if your budgeted would be XYZ dollars for running costs of the property, and then before you know it, it gets higher because a renovation, or gets a little bit higher, every year. So if that happened to you, what do you do? And sometimes that's the reason why, if you are thinking of buying your first investment property, I would suggest buy a house. But that's coming from my own experience, because you'd be paying for fees that it doesn't really make sense, like some of them. So yeah. Anyway, house versus unit. Talk to you guys in the next video. Bye.